Hi, I'm Karen. We're here at Montevilla Sewing Center, and today we're talking about the Janome 8002D Serger. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do basic maintenance on your machine. Now, sergers produce a lot of lint. The main reason for that is the blades. When they cut through fabric, there's little pieces of that fabric lint that come off and end up in your machine. So you want to keep that clean. Anytime you see lint, just brush it out. And if you've done a lot of serging, maybe every few minutes, you might want to brush it out. But it will work better, especially your blades will work better if there's not lint caught between them. Okay, so I'm opening the doors here so you can see what I'm doing, but also so we can reach this part. Now, you want to brush that away really good with your brush that's included with your machine. Over here is a knob that you can push to move the upper blade away from the lower blade and clean between those two right there. You get that nice and clean. Now, most of the time using a brush is all you really need to do. You can, if you want to get really thorough about this, unthread your machine and use your vacuum cleaner, the hose attachment, and brush really well. Do not use canned air. Canned air is that aerosol spray air that you puff things in. Two reasons. The main reason is that if you spray it long enough, it's going to start leaving frost on whatever you're spraying, and the frost is moisture. Moisture is not a good thing to put in your sewing machine. Second reason, though, is that it can push lint further into the machine instead of pulling it out like a vacuum cleaner would. But most of the time, just your brush is just fine. Okay. Then you're also going to want to change your needles now and then. So when you change your needles, I would recommend if you change a needle, or both of them, if you change one needle, change them both so that way they're the same age and the same size, same type. The HA by 1SP needle is the type of needle you should get. There are different brands that have the HA by 1SP, but that's the type. And then the size 11 through 14. You could use the size 12 if you can get that size. That'd be fine. Okay, I'd recommend leaving your needles threaded because when you turn these little screws here, and make sure you get a small bladed screwdriver like that, the needles are going to drop out, but they're not going to drop down inside the machine because they're being held by the thread there. So we're going to take needle out like that. I'm going to take my scissors and snip that thread like that. Here's the other needle. Tweezers are very helpful to have when you're using your serger. Okay, like that. Now, if you look carefully right here, you can see there's an R and an L. L for left hand, R for right hand needle. And if you could look underneath there, you would see that there's the two holes where the needles go in. Always make sure that the flat side goes towards the back, just like on your regular sewing machine. Now in this case, I want to put the left-hand needle in first. So if your serger doesn't already come with a brush like this with a needle inserter at the end, I would recommend you getting one. This is very helpful for holding your needle, but you can also use your tweezers. It's just not quite as secure as using this needle thread. So we're going to poke that right down in there where it sews. Now this machine has its needles at a slant, so just make sure that you're getting it into the needle inserter at a slant. I'm going to make sure that my thread or my needle clamp screw is loose enough to get it all the way up to the top. That's really important. Whenever you're changing needles on any sewing machine, make sure that the top of that needle is all the way up to the stopper. Pull that down. I'm going to move my upper looper out of the way a little bit so I've got a little more clearance there. Again, for the right hand needle, put that in there like that. Put this right up to the top and make sure it's all the way up to the top. Now in this case, since we've already got the left hand needle in, I'm going to just kind of encourage it to stay up there using my tweezers and kind of let that hang down a little bit, because the plastic on the needle inserter can sometimes get a little bit in the way. So I'm giving some upward pressure on the needle to make sure it's all the way up to the top. Okay, now I'm going to open this up again, move my upper looper out of the way. If you look carefully, you can see that the right hand needle is hanging down a little bit lower than the left hand needle. That's normal. It should always be that way. If you see them where they're straight across, that means your left hand needle is down too far. This has to do with the timing of the loopers making a stitch. So that's why this one hangs down a little bit lower. Okay. And then you would just go and thread your needles again. So for maintenance, other than what I just showed you about changing your needles and cleaning the lint out, you might want to bring your machine in for service every now and then here at Montevilla. Just like you bring your car in for regular maintenance, even if there's nothing wrong with it, you want to just make sure it's in good tune, good timing, got good lubrication in it. We take good care of your machine here. It's well worth the money and the time to make sure your machine is in good working order. So that's your basic maintenance on your Janome 8002D. We have lots of other videos that you can watch. If this one was helpful to you, give us a thumbs up. And if you have comments or questions, you can leave those in the area down below. So happy sewing. We'll see you later. Bye.